Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk a bit about HSL, that is hue, saturation, and luminosity. This HSL is very important for any post-production activity when it comes to photography or even when it comes to videography. So let me explain you about what exactly these three terminologies all about. So I just opened this Word document, and then if you can see, I just opened this template, color template that you can take it through this one. If you can check on the font color, just go to the more colors and you can see this. Change the color model to from RGB to HSL. That is nothing but the hue, saturation, color, luminosity. Any of this color model will be measured between an integral value of 0 to 245. So we will talk about what is mean by this 255 maybe in a different video, because that becomes more immaterial in this video. uh, so when it comes to, I'll just quickly jump into the understanding on this HSL. If you can see, I placed the marker in the red, I mean the left, left top corner. That is nothing but the darkest red, right? So this darkest red is again a hue. So if I move that hue color vertically, you don't see any change in the hue value. If you can see that, right? In that sense, hue always move horizontal pattern. The reason being, it's a change of color. Hue is nothing but color. If I move to a different color, I mean the yellow, the value will change. If I move to green, the value will change. 79 is nothing but the green color. And then 138 is nothing but a sky blue. And then it's 176 a different blue again. And then pink, and then a different shade. So it's all about color. If hue always move horizontal, in the sense it shifts between different colors, that much simple. Okay, let's come to the saturation. Again, I take the example of red. So I placed the cursor in the darkest red, and then I can bring it down to the lightest red. Or if you can see, the saturation is varying. So saturation always moves vertically. In that sense, it talks about the intensity of that particular color. You have different intensity on the same red color. You have darkest red, you have lightest red. So in between the darkest and the lightest, you have variance of reds. That's all about the intensity of that particular color. So one important thing in saturation is when it comes to zero, or when you minimize the saturation value, it's always going to be gray. So for in any color, for that matter, in any color, if you bring it down to zero value of saturation, it talks about gray. So the mix of gray, the intensity of gray mix with any color again talks about saturation. When you lower the saturation of any color, it's going to be gray. When you increase the saturation of any color, it's going to give you different shades of that particular color. Is that much simple. When it comes to luminosity, if you can see, I again put the cursor in the red, and then if you can see, when I increase the luminosity to the higher value, if you can see, the value of the luminosity is increasing. So when I put it to the top value, that is 255, it's nothing but white color. When you put it to the, when you bring it to the lowest value, it's nothing but the nothing but black. So on any color, if you increase the luminosity to the highest value, it is nothing but white. When you bring it to the lowest value of luminosity, it is nothing but dark. Still, I know still you might be having confusion. I'll take a typical real world example. If you lock yourself inside a room and switch off the light, and your room will become darker. Why? Because there is no luminosity. You can't see any subject around you. You can't, in the sense that you can't, you can see the variance of color between a table and a toy or a bag. So you can able to understand the colors of these three different objects. So when you switch on the light, or when you turn on the light slowly by increasing the luminosity of that light, you can able to distinguish between various colors, right? So when you increase the luminosity of that light, you can able to distinguish between your table and your toy and your bag. So we can understand, okay, what is the color of the bag, what is the color of the toy. When you start increasing the luminosity to the high intensity of that particular light, you can't see anything. You'll get a flash out, you get a flare, and you can't see anything. It will become brighter. The typical example is, what in case if you see the sun directly, you'll get flare. You can't see anything when you start seeing the objects no, nearby. You can't see anything. It'll become a flash out for you. So that's about luminosity. Any color for that matter, if you increase the luminosity, it is going to be white. If you decrease the luminosity, it's going to be uh, dark. This is the typical example. If you can see, it's a virtual, no vertical movement, no similar to saturation. So keep it in mind. Hue always move horizontally. You can see the value changing, whereas saturation and luminosity will never change. Saturation always move vertically. If you can see, hue and luminosity will never change, only the intensity of the color is changing. And then the luminosity always the vertical movement. It talks about the brightness of the particular color. There is two important principles we have seen. The lowest value of saturation value of any color is gray, and the highest luminosity of any color is white. The lowest luminosity of any color is black. Simple. So this is what about HSL. You can play around having this principle in mind. You can play around with your photographs. Now you can understand where to have the hue, and where to have your saturation maintained, and where to bring luminosity, and which part of your photograph you wanted to bring luminosity, so that your subject will be more precise for the audience perspective. Thanks for watching. So if you have anything or anything you wanted to understand, you can place your thoughts in the comment sections. Maybe I can explain you the comments, or I can bring up with the different techniques or different video for that matter. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned.